Hello dear friends, once again welcome back for our lecture. In 8th chapter, Gavin Maxwell loves this pet animals, and now that he wants to take from Basra and he has already left from Iraq where he has got his pet animal from, and now wants to go to his own place. So this funny picture we had taken for our last session. Now you see what happens. The next is Midge is out of the box. That is, we got the description of that lady air hostess who was supposed to she wants to play with that pet otter. Midge was out of the box in a flash. He disappeared at a high speed down the aircraft. So you see, perhaps now we have visualization of that very thing. There were squawks and shrieks. So that is what now, because everyone wow, ooh, yeah, because they found that only a few who could manage with that, but the people who were supposed to go to London, that particular area, these type of animals were not famous, and they must have felt afraid as well. And a woman stood up on her seat screaming out, "A rat, a rat!" So that particular black coat or suit woman that we are able to see, my dear friends. So this is what had happened. I caught sight of Midge's tail disappearing beneath the legs of a portly white turbaned Indian. So this is what you see, one Sardarji, and he, behind him or under his legs, he had hid that himself. So Mijbil goes out of the box. Very difficult to take him. Now he has already got a very much flexibility at home, and now all of a sudden when he was supposed to move to England, London, he was kept in a box. Perhaps this particular small baby or pet animal did not like that. Mijbil goes out of the box. Let me summarize this chapter, this particular passage. Midge was out of the box at once. He disappeared in the aircraft. There was a woman shouting, a rat," in fear. The otter tried to catch the otter, but he failed. Now just imagine. It is not that otter, doesn't want to do anything, but all of a sudden, we have seen sometimes some cows and buffaloes just coming over the roads, and they get confused. So this is what. On the roads, when we all of a sudden meet with some cows and buffaloes, they are confused. They do not know how to follow the traffic rules. So same thing has happened to this otter. So otter has got now confused how and what to do. The air hostess told him that be seated and said she would find the otter for him. Now just imagine, perhaps the air hostess is from Arab, or she is an Arabian lady. But that is what we could say, because she is not afraid. She said, "You all please be seated and I shall get the otter." Very soon the otter came near the author and climbed on his knees, and he started rubbing his face and neck with his nose. Now just imagine, these animals, they move by their smell. They have instinct, and they could see when their owner. So same thing has happened to this even story. Here it has become rebellious. At the same time, he must have found the smell of his friend or Gavin Maxwell himself, and therefore slowly comes that particular fellow to his knees and tries to rub the body. So that is trying to show the affinity and affection, that you see, you have left me alone and I am all alone. Must have been a very pathetic sight, and at the same time, how confidence or what a beautiful trust that particular creature has in the owner or in the author himself. Mijbil reaches London. Now what happens? You see, slowly, so now here. So we are told here, after an eventful journey, Maxwell and his otter reached London. where he has a flat. So this is now what has happened. Let us read. Mijbil reaches London. So this particular paragraph and this fourth part is talking about this. The author remained in London for almost a month. Midge kept on playing with ping pong balls, marbles, rubber fruit and terrapin shell that the author had bought from the marshes. So this is what these things, okay, simple, like when a small kid is playing with toys. Likewise, it is also a very, very small fellow, and therefore in order to make him play, author has brought all these toys. Okay. Mijbil plays outside the house. Now we are already told that he has been there. Okay. And outside the house, you see, you will pay attention to here the second paragraph, the big paragraph. Outside the house, I exercised him on a lead, precisely as if he had been a dog. You see, as if he had been a dog. So now we have seen on the streets people take. If you already remember, in the second part we discussed that the author had made him a body belt. Therefore, now he is taking out him like a dog. The author exercised Midge on a lead. On the streets, Midge quickly developed certain habits during the walks on the London streets. There was a primary school opposite the author's house. He would take the author near the outer wall of it, which was some 2 feet high. He would then gallop on to this. Okay, this distracted the students and the staff. So just imagine, again a very, very funny sights, my dear friend. Now we have people keeping sometime monkey, we have some sort of nice pets or dogs. When someone brings to either nearby a school and all, the students are distracted. Likewise, whenever they went for a walk, okay, so along it was a very, very small compound wall of that particular school, and this Midge would climb up to there and he would start distracting them. The people in London were not able to recognize the author and made wild guesses. So as that particular lady, terrified lady, said that it was a rat. Likewise in London, they were not able to make up what these things were. See, opposite to my flat was a single-storied primary school, along whose frontage ran a low wall some 2 feet high. On his way home, but never on his way out, Midge would tug me to this wall. You see, tug me there. Why? Because he must have been also very happy to see those kids playing there. Okay, jump onto it and gallop the full length of his 30 yards to the hopeless distractions, both pupils and the staff within. So he must be walking on that particular wall, and meanwhile the staff and the students would be busy and must be feeling very happy to see this sort of animals there. Okay. Yes, so now what has happened, this last part, as we are watching into the video, the last part is that people there, they did not know what sort of animal and they made, okay, it is not, I suppose, in any way strange that the average Londoner, the one who stays there, should not recognize an otter. But the variety of guesses as to what kind of animal this might be came as a surprise to me. Otters belong to comparatively small group of animals called mustelines, and shed a badger, mongoose, weasels, stows, mink and others. Now you just imagine, my dear friends, because as I said in the beginning my lecture, that it is a small mongoose like, and that lady shouted like a rat. So all these things were given, it was just for a surprise. So suppose if you do not know, okay, what sort of animal is this, okay, and you will also make this guess. But the question for which I awarded the highest score came from a laborer, okay, a laborer digging a hole in the street. So there was a laborer who was digging a hole, okay, perhaps taking out mud there in the street. I was still far from him when he laid down his stool, put his hand on his hips and began to stare. As I drew near, I saw his expression of surprise and affront. He is completely perplexed, confused and surprised as well, as though he would have me know that he was not one upon whom to play jokes. I came abreast of him, near to him. He spat, glared, and then growled out, "Here, mister, what is that supposed to be?" So, did you understand? Now, just imagine that particular laborer. Now, it is written here in a very, very sophisticated manner, but that is a beautiful and a nice, funny act or funny thing has happened, just like a very funny TikTok video. So, when the author Maxwell had carried that otter with him, a laborer, when he was digging out, he threw all his instruments, and now looking at that, my God, what this fellow is bringing, it's like a lizard, big lizard, it's like a mongoose, and he spat. He did not feel good, glared and spat. Oh my God, what nonsense have you carried? So, oh mister, don't bring it here. So, like, one way he's either afraid, second that he felt irritated with the same animal. So, this is what, my dear friends, this particular chapter talks about. Let me summarize this chapter to you in couple of points. We have some around 14 points to remember for our studies. So after the death of his dog, the author decides to keep an animal otter as an animal as his pet. As for his friend's suggestion, he got an otter from Tigris marshes. So that is a wonderful place where two Arabs had come to give that. The author felt that coming of the otter started a new phase of his life. We know that our author had become lonely because of the death of his dog. The otter first appeared as a small dragon. He was coated with mud. It took a lot of time and effort for the author to remove the dust. The otter loved to play with water and could not stand still in front of it. Could not stand still means whenever the otter saw the water, must be crazy like anything. He also loved to play with the rubber balls. Marbles toys were his favorite. After some days, the author had to come back to London. The transportation of Mijbil to London became a problem. British Airline did not permit animals on its flight. So we saw that in the studies. What happens? So another airline agreed. So via Paris, and from Paris to London. The another airline agreed to take the animal if packed in a box. So it's like a cargo section. The author made a small box for the otter. While in the plane, the otter escaped from the box. And that box, it has gone from the box, and now some passengers shouted and stood on their seats, seeing the otter in a plane. At last, the otter came back and settled there with the author's niece. On reaching London, people did not recognize the otter, just made random guesses. Mijbil played with a ping pong ball and developed certain playing habits in London, just like walking there. Towards the end of the story, in the fourth part, which is said that he always distracted the students and the teacher. And at last, there was a person, a laborer, who even felt irritated and said that what sort of thing that you have brought here. So this is perhaps a very, very funny thing. We have also said that it's a responsibility to have a pet animal, and both the things we can very well feel here. So my dear friends, as you already know, that chapter 8 is talking about Mijbil the Otter by Gravin Maxwell, and we were told that it's a serious responsibility, and I think we have rightly felt in this chapter, and also we have really enjoyed how this chapter and funny tricks were played by Otter himself with the author. Thank you very much, dear friends.